Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? There is a correction that we need to make to the agenda. The 22 election committee report by Carol Ludwig was done at the annual meeting. So this got on the agenda erroneously. So I move that we amend the agenda to remove that from the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and we need to vote on the amended agenda. All in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the amended agenda is what will follow. President's remarks, I really don't have any. I spoke for 3 hours this morning, and I'm kind of talked out. So, public comments, is there anyone in the room who would like to make public comments?
I do.
Amy?
Amy Peck, 109 Whitehorse. Thank you, Dr. Horn, for presenting clear data regarding meeting attendance at our annual meeting. It's important to look at data when making decisions. I'm happy attendance has increased through the hybrid option and we achieved a quorum. Data clearly showed meetings during the weekday had the highest attendance. As I suggested in January, I proposed the 11 a.m. start time be moved to noon to allow lunchtime hybrid attendance. When meetings are held in the evenings, like tonight, it places a burden on our staff. Tonight, we are missing numerous staff members due to the time of the meeting. Issuing comp time to staff is not the answer. Comp time does not compensate for time away from partners, family, children's activities, and additional child care costs. Many of our staff live outside of Ocean Pines, and asking them to work a long day, go home, and then return in the evening is burdensome. Asking staff to give up 11 Saturdays to attend meetings when they have already given so much to the community is not the right thing to do. Having the staff at meetings, presenting reports, and available to answer questions is what is most helpful. I urge the board to please consider our employees when assigning meeting times. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Anybody else in the room want to speak?
I got something
Hutch?
to say. Full of a thing, 12 o'clock guy. Well, the first thing I want to say, this is the first time in my history I'm always involved in the election, and there was 3 people I fight for, and they made it. And I'm very proud of that. Yes, and another thing, our general manager made us a nice home to hold meetings in the golf course. This last 6-7 months, you went over there was no meeting, it was here or it was somewhere else. You had to run around like it was a circus. Nobody knows what the meetings was. That is one thing. I like to say, I hope that we're gonna get every meeting in that room, and if the meeting is there, that we know that the meeting is there. We have a good general manager. The best one we had, and I hope with the new board, that you people a little bit easier on our general manager. He did an outstanding job. He is the one who saved the Ocean Pine in the last 3 years. We have lost under the administration what goes out. We lost a lot of good people here on the board and other people, and I feel sorry for that. We lost good people. There was a lot of arguments in that board here last year. That was like a circus. So I hope with the new 3 members that we stop that and respect our members or people what serve us. And, you know, I know the chief. Never did we had a policeman in our board meetings. That always was nice. I like to see him, but the man got another job to do. I cannot see why we have to have. I never see that anybody's here came with a pistol or something and want to fight. We have a good manager, a good policeman, and I hope that we can hold a meeting without that we got here police around and let us people talk. And another thing, I hope you people get away from that Wednesday meeting. Who holds a meeting in the Wednesday in Ocean Pine? That was the biggest joke ever pulled on the people. I like to see the meetings coming back on the Saturday. And I won, and I'm proud of my three guys what won the board, what on the board.
Okay, thank you, Dutch. Anybody else in the room? Josh, is there anybody in the virtual environment that would like to?
We don't have any hands up.
Okay, so we can move on to the next item of the agenda, which is the election of association officers. And election of the officers shall occur in the following order: president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. Upon election, the new president will take immediate charge of the meeting. The nominations of the candidates shall be made by board members. Discussion by board members is permitted. Board members may nominate themselves. Seconds on nominations are not required. Candidates for each office shall remain in the room and be permitted to vote. To be elected, a candidate must secure a simple majority vote of the board. Votes shall be taken until a candidate is elected to each of the four officer positions. And given that we have two of our directors participating virtually, the vote will be by verbal assent. Okay, so do we have any nominations for the president?
I want to make a nomination. I nominate Doug Parks as president.
Okay. Any other nominations?
I nominate Doug Parks for president.
Okay, we don't need to do that twice. Okay. So is there anyone else that anybody wants to nominate? Okay. Seeing no other candidates, we can elect Doug by proclamation. Congratulations, Doug. And you may take charge of the meeting at this point.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, and I will also have a voice vote for the following positions. Next item on the agenda is for the office of vice president. The floor is now open for nominations for the office of vice president. I'd like to nominate Rick Farr. Nominate, do you accept?
I accept.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, I'll call the question and ask for, since there are only one nominee for the office of vice president, I'll call for acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Rick is now the vice president. Next item on the agenda, association secretary. The floor is now open for candidates or nominations for the position of secretary.
I nominate Stu Lackernick.
Nominee, do you accept the nominations?
Yes, I do.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, and the fact that there's only one nomination for the office of secretary, I'll call for acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Stuart Lackernick is now the association secretary. Stuart, your official duties commenced as of now, so please start taking the notes and recording everything. Rick, thank you for taking the information regarding the first three officer positions that were elected. Stuart, you're now responsible for maintaining that information and collecting it from here on out. The next item on the agenda is the office of treasurer. The floor is now open for the office of association treasurer. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Monica Rowski for treasurer.
Nominee, do you accept?
I do.
Other nominations? Seeing none, and the fact there's only one nominee for the office of treasurer, I'll call for acclamation. All those in favor of acclamation for Monica Rakowski as treasurer, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Monica is the treasurer. Next item of business is appointed positions. In the past, we have gone through this exercise, and in some cases, we were able to address the issue and get the individual involved right away. In other cases, we didn't have the individuals available, and we would have to pursue them, beyond this meeting. So the first appointed position is assistant secretary. I'll entertain individuals for the position of assistant secretary.
I nominate Linda Martin.
Is Linda in the room?
Yes, I am.
Linda, will you accept the nomination for an appointment as the assistant secretary?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Any others? All right, seeing we have one person as an appointee for the assistant secretary, I'll call for acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Linda Martin is now the Assistant Secretary of the Association. The next position is Assistant Treasurer. Traditionally, that position has been held by the Director of Finance within the organization, offering for consideration to my colleagues that we continue that, and ask that Steve Phillips be given consideration for appointing him as the Assistant Treasurer. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll appoint, I'll call for acclamation. We'll appoint Steve Phillips as Assistant Treasurer. We'll reach out to Steve. If he is unable to fill that position, we will have to revisit the position at some point in time very soon after this meeting. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none, the next item that we have to appoint is legal counsel. Right now, our current counsel is Lurch Early Brewer. Any considerations for appointments other than Lurch Early Brewer? Seeing none, we will continue to use Lurch Early Brewer as our legal counsel. Next appointed position is auditor. We have in the past used TGM, which is now UHY. TGM merged with UHY back in January of 2022. And they were the one that just completed our audit. Any other considerations for the appointment of auditors for the association? Seeing none, we'll call for acclamation that we appoint UHY as the auditors for the association. Next item is parliamentarian. Traditionally, this is an area where we have in the past have used our general counsel as parliamentarian, and we followed up to see if there's any interest in the community to have a member step in and fulfill that role. I offer for consideration that we can consider doing that again, unless there is some other approach that folks could offer in order to fill this position for parliamentarian. Seeing none, I'll inform Lurch Early that we want to appoint them as parliamentarian, and perhaps we can have an ancillary discussion on whether or not we want to pursue another individual within the association to see if they have any interest in serving as the parliamentarian for the association. That's the end of the appointments. Next item of business is new business. We are charged with establishing the board meeting schedule for the upcoming year. I'm open to, the floor is now open for recommendations on dates and times, and I don't necessarily think we have to deal with location. We can certainly discuss that. So the floor is now open for suggestions on meeting dates for the upcoming year.
I'd like to make a comment about the meetings. I'd like them to be on last Saturday of the month, 9 a.m. The third or fourth Saturday of the month.
All right, we have a suggestion that the meeting should be taken on the third or fourth Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. Any discussion, any other alternatives?
Yeah, Doug, if I can, I don't have a strong preference one way or the other, but I am aware that there's been a lot of discussion between doing it on a weekday and doing it on a Saturday. So my thought would be, am I correct that we're doing this just for the first 6 months? Or is this for the whole year?
For the entire year. Traditionally, okay. It's been 11 months because often we don't schedule an August meeting because it's very close to the annual meeting.
Fair enough. So my suggestion would be to alternate. First month on a Saturday, next would be on a Wednesday, and or whatever other weekday someone wants to pick at the appropriate time. And I think that way we can get a pretty good read as to attendance, burden on staff, and the other issues that were raised just here during the public comments. So I would just suggest as a possibility, just alternate between the two.
Discussion.
Yeah, to make,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Colette.
Now, Colette,
We did that a few years ago, and I think that worked pretty well. Since we have had good attendance on the weekday lunch meeting, I've gotten feedback from the community of people who are sitting on their computers all day and find that that's a more convenient time for them to participate with the hybrid format that we consider a Saturday morning alternating with, Wednesday again at noon time, so that we can accommodate people who can only be here on the weekends and want to be here in person, but also accommodate people who have busy family lives who find it easier to participate in these meetings during their lunchtime on a workday using the hybrid. And that's the data that I presented, that was the most popular time for people to attend. We had an average of 37 people attending on the hybrid workdays. The workday during the day meetings, the attendance was just in-person meetings was 27, average of 27. The workday evening meetings, the average was only 13. The Saturday meetings were 22. And so Saturday morning is not a real popular time, I'm sure, for the staff, but it's not as popular a time for the membership either. The most popular has really been the hybrid workday meeting. So, I would propose either stick with the workday midday meeting and take advantage of that hybrid opportunity, or go with Steve's recommendation of alternating between a workday lunch meeting and a Saturday morning meeting.
other discussion. Frank,
In either event, I think we have to pay particular attention to the November and December calendar. If you look at it and see where the Saturdays fall. Because I
Other
believe
discussion.
one is Christmas Eve.
Oh, we turned off our phones.
And one is, I think, the Thanksgiving, Saturday after Thanksgiving. I don't think that's a smart time to have a meeting.
Stuart,
I think that I'll just be honest with everybody. Weekday board meetings cut in the middle of a work week, and most folks that are working can not attend. And if we alternate between Wednesday and Saturday, if you wanted to attend a meeting, a board meeting, it's like, is this a Wednesday month? Is this a Saturday month? I think it would increase, it'd be more confusion involved with that. I think we should stick with one day, and when we get towards the holidays, make the third Saturday instead of fourth Saturday. That's just my 2 cents.
Colette,
Doug, as far as which week to have the meeting, this past year we strove to have the meetings right after the first available date, whatever day we choose, Wednesday or Saturday, following the 13th workday, so that the financials were fresh. They were out and they were fresh, rather than waiting till the end of the month when they're old news, so to speak. And so whichever we choose, I think it should be the day first of that day following the 13th workday, so that we can have fresh financials to consider.
yeah, and for the benefit of the new directors, over the years, we've done that in the past. We made a conscious effort to ensure that the board meetings got scheduled immediately after the financial reports for that month were made available. And it's traditionally been the third week of the month. So I personally, I'm kind of in between, but I lean more towards some consistency and having it on Saturday. Yeah, the data is there, but I just don't think that it warrants enough, especially given the fact that when that data was collected, the hybrid, for some of the years, the hybrid meetings were not available. So I'd be very much interested in some level of consistency and seeing how much more attendance we get based on the fact that they can have the option of attending the meeting virtually rather than having to be there in person. I've also entertained questions and concerns from members and saying that it wasn't, quite frankly, inconvenient for them to try to do a meeting during the week. So you're going to get all kinds of viewpoints on that. There's no one right answer. Having them all as a hybrid on a Wednesday to me is no more relevant or irrelevant than having them on a Wednesday evening, a Saturday morning. I don't think there's any one particular time that would guarantee us the maximum amount of member engagement and participation. I think we stick with a level of consistency and we move forward. That's just my opinion. Monica.
So if we set this, is there any reason not to say the first 6 months we're going to do it on Saturday and then reevaluate based on the statistics? Or is it, no, we decide this now for the whole year?
Well, I think that's up for discussion. That's certainly traditionally, we have set the schedule for the entire year. All right. So unless there's a compelling reason why we shouldn't set the schedule for the entire year, my personal preference, and I'll defer to the group, my personal preference would be to try to make sure we set the schedule for the entire year. Colette, you were next.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, I was just going to address the issue of that's 11 weekends of the year that are going to have as many as 6 of our staff members working. And I think that is a big ask. They have families too. As Amy pointed out, they have childcare costs that are not going to be reimbursed, that adds an extra burden to them. And they have, eliminates a weekend a month with their family, a weekend day a month. I think that's a lot to ask. And given that the data really supports the middle of, and, as you pointed out, Doug, that we're going to get all kinds of opinions on any time or any day that we choose, I would prefer to pay deference to the needs of our employees, particularly since we've had such excellent attendance in this last year with the midday hybrid meetings.
Other discussion?
Yes, I raised my hand. I didn't know whether or not I
Stuart.
Let me lower my hand. I hear you, Colette, and that's a valid point. But I think this Ocean Pines has been around for 53 or 54 years. It's always been on a Saturday up until recently, and that's the tradition that we've had from the beginning. And I think we should continue that because you can definitely gather more folks on a Saturday, either online or in the building. That's just my thoughts.
Colette.
Stuart, that's actually not the case, that the tradition has been Saturday. It has bounced all over the place. It's been Wednesday, it's been Thursday, it's been Saturday, it's been Saturday morning, it's been Wednesday during the day, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. I didn't bring it with me. I didn't think that would be a piece of information that would need to be corrected, but it's been all over the place for the years since 2012 that I have data for. It has been all over the place.
Other discussion?
Yeah, Doug,
Steve.
if I can, small points. I think what we need to keep in mind is we're talking about a body of people in addition to staff and board members of someplace between 20 to 35. I mean, we're not talking about hundreds of folks being displaced because we have the meeting set on a certain date. I can't believe there's really a level of confusion between meeting notices going out, social media, and a variety of other things. Everyone should have a pretty good idea. And the fact that the schedule will be set a year out, I can't believe there's really a problem with confusion. And as to tradition, technology. I mean, to the extent we can take advantage of it, we should. And whether or not one day is better than the other, whether people are online or in person, we can argue about that till we're blue in the face. But the idea is to expand the opportunity for people to participate. And I think over the course of the year, we should get a pretty good idea as to when people participate. So I would suggest we'd be better off alternating between the two, taking into account the upcoming holidays at the end of the year. It just sort of makes sense. And this way, no one feels displaced, whether you normally attend on the weekend or you attend during the week. No one's going to be displaced over the long haul.
So far during this discussion, we've heard three suggestions. One would be all Saturdays at 9 o'clock, another would be all Wednesdays at noon, and a third would be an alternating schedule between Saturdays at 9 and Wednesdays at noon. Is that what everybody understands at this point?
Yes.
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 All right. We need preference. We need to get to a decision that we can move forward with. Recommendations.
Well, I'll proffer the alternate approach between Wednesdays and Saturdays, alternating each month.
No,
I'll second that.
Okay. Well, is this still?
Stuart, go ahead.
Yeah, I know that over the last year, Wednesday meeting, I attend every meeting, whether I have to catch it as a recording or I can be there live. And I could not make, I mean, I'm in the middle of my business day on a Wednesday. It's difficult. It's difficult to get there. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not the only one. I think this really comes down to the availability of people that have not retired to be able to make these meetings. I vote for Saturday.
I second that vote.
So it looks like we're now at a situation where we need to decide whether or not we want to do all Saturdays or a hybrid of Saturday/Wednesday. Or is that where we are right now? Is that what everybody understands?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I've expressed my preference. I prefer Saturdays. We have done that in the past. I do question the need for the amount of staff that we currently have in order to run this meeting. We've had meetings on Saturdays in the past for many, many years. I've been on this board. This will be my 7th and final year. And we were perfectly capable of addressing a meeting on Saturday without a burden to the staff. I would certainly open dialogue with the GM because we could certainly change it going forward. I would say for sake of trying to arrive at a decision, let's make a decision tonight with the idea that if it becomes too burdensome on the staff and the GM expresses concern, then I would certainly bring it back to the board and say, all right, guys, we need to rethink this. And we certainly within our purview can reschedule the meetings as necessary if that situation happens to come up. So my suggestion, my recommendation would be let's move forward with Saturdays, get that on the schedule so we have something to put down in concrete, and with the idea that, as I just mentioned, if it becomes burdensome, we can address it at some point. Colette?
Can we take a vote on this? We have
Yes,
two
please
people
do.
that have expressed that.
All right, I'll
Okay,
entertain
how
a
many-
motion. Let's handle it this way. I'll entertain a motion to address having meetings every Saturday at 9 o'clock. Is there a motion to do so?
I make a motion that we have our meetings at Saturday at 9 o'clock.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the board meetings being scheduled on the third Saturday of every month, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
All right, so will you please record that?
So what was the full vote? Was it 4-3?
4-3, and we'll do that. And I will commit to ensuring that I follow up with the GM to determine if the Saturday meetings are a burden to the staff, both from a personal and a financial perspective.
Which Saturday?
All right, so now we're going to move
Third
to
Saturday
which
of the month.
Saturdays, all right?
Third?
He's proposing third Saturday of the month. That's what we just passed.
So I believe the third Saturday in September is the 17th. Any concerns with the 17th?
Just give me a moment.
I'm officiating a wedding. Can we make it the 24th?
All right.
Somebody's,
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Everybody okay with the 24th of September?
Please, I had turned off my phone, so let me get back on. Just trying to be a good doobie here.
Just say start when it's available.
Yeah, I think since the motion was the third Saturday, it's interesting the person who put the motion forward is already objecting to the first third Saturday.
That's fine. I think that's circumstantial. All right, so September 24th. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
All right. October would be October 15th.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. November would be November 19th, which, to Frank's point, should be before the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah.
December should be the 17th, which again, according to Frank's point, should be in front of the holiday season. January will be the 21st. February will be the 18th. March will be the 18th. April will be the 15th. May will be the 20th. June will be the 17th. July will be the 15th. And we will not schedule a meeting for August unless one is needed at that point. Now, while we're on the two more items, while we're on the issue of meetings, is there a preferred location for these meetings?
I would say the clubhouse, golf course, clubhouse.
Colette?
I think we ought to give some consideration to the GM's recommendation because he'll be staffing these. And my understanding is that the clubhouse requires more staff to support a meeting than a meeting in this room.
Yeah, and
I would propose this room.
yeah, and I will follow up with that. I to me, the clubhouse would be my third choice. Traditionally, we've also had meetings in the Assateague room for many years. So I think that that's certainly on there. But Colette, I like your suggestion. I think that we should go to the GM and say, hey, listen, we're deciding on whether or not the boardroom or the Assateague room is a more appropriate venue for our meetings. Please give me your thoughts with regard to availability, with regard to personal staffing commitments and financial commitments for that staff. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'll make sure we address that. Colette?
Yeah, the other consideration is that it's a banquet space that generates revenue. And
Yeah,
so weekends are a big time so we also probably need to consider that as a possible impact to food and beverage revenue.
Right, and that's where I will defer to the GM and ask for guidance on a location that would have minimal impact on his operation. Okay, the final item that I wanted to address was town hall meetings.
Doug,
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, Frank, go right ahead.
just one point in location. Since ostensibly we're doing this to increase attendance and not for the sole convenience of the board, we may want to consider if we're selecting this location, that time will conflict with the farmer's market. And I would find it to be somewhat of a stretch of imagination to think that people are going to go to the farmer's market and then come to the board meeting. I don't think we've had evidence of that in the past. And that creates a severe parking situation for folks that do want to attend the board meeting.
Yeah, point taken. I'm not sure we have a solution for that, but your point is well made, Frank. As a matter of fact, I think you were on the board at the time where when we tried to get a quorum for the annual meeting, there was a big event going on over at the farmers market. It was very difficult to solicit people to come over and join the annual meeting, but point well taken. All right, that's a little bit of a moving target. We'll certainly keep our eye on that, make sure we make any adjustments that are necessary. The last item I wanted to bring up is the issue of a town hall meeting. We've traditionally done that. I'm just for sake of discussion and debate, I would say we at least target at least 2 town hall meetings for the upcoming year. Dates, times, and topics to be determined. Any thoughts or discussion or recommendations on that? Rick?
Yeah, I agree that we should at least have a minimum of 2, and depending on the how that's received, whether we should have more or maybe once a quarter. But I think the minimum of 2 on town halls would be a good start.
Colette?
Excuse me. I don't think we ought to cast that in concrete because there's no point in having a town hall meeting unless there's a purpose for the meeting. To have a town hall meeting for the sake of fulfilling a 2-meeting requirement that we set for ourselves doesn't make sense to me. I think it's something that we should certainly be open to, but I think they need to be topic driven. If they're not relevant, we're not going to get the attendance and it's going to be a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, I would agree. As we have done in the past, all the town hall meetings have been topic driven, and that's why I'm not ready to make a claim that of the topic and the time, date, location of a town hall meeting. Just the concept of a town hall meeting. We should at least let the membership know that we're considering that, and we should also excuse me, we should also solicit from the membership potential topics for a town hall meeting so that we get them involved. Because remember, this is all about member engagement. So I think we keep it as a to-do item, committing that we will have at the very least one or two. And certainly I would agree that it has to be topic driven. Steve.
Yeah, Doug, I'm just curious, Doug, is the purpose of I have no problem with town hall meetings. I think they're fine. But is the purpose of the meeting to vote and consider certain matters, or is it just meant to be informative? I mean, because if the issue is to vote and whatnot, you then have the issue of establishing quorums and everything else, and I'm not sure that's really what you want to do, but I just want to know what the purpose of the meetings are.
So the meetings have been topic driven. We don't conduct board business. It's meant, it was initially done, there was a lot less interaction during public comments years ago during regular board meetings where there wasn't any back and forth between the membership and the board members. The town hall is meant specifically to drive that type of back and forth conversation. The board will not conduct business with regard to policymaking, expense distribution, so on and so forth. It'll be a topic with engagement, with the intent of engagement of the membership, so that they can openly discuss that particular topic and share their viewpoints on it.
And I would assume it could be more than one topic, correct?
It could. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that we've had a town hall meeting that had more than one topic. We might have, but I don't believe we did.
Not in the 5 years I've been on the board.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's discussion purposes only.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions regarding town hall? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is call for adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
So
Move
moved.
second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.